Well, good morning, everybody. I guess it's almost afternoon in some of the places, but I'm Ed Parcaut here with Brian Galke, and we're ACES 53. Galke.
Yeah.
I'm like going backwards in time, I tell you. And what ACES 53 is, where it sells podcasts, live, whatever you want to call it. And we basically focus on attitude, commitment, enthusiasm, and smile. The ACES part of ACES 53, and 53 is the actual joker, that unique ability you have, or somebody we bring on to teach you a unique ability, kind of like Brian learned about people's faces.
That's right.
So, is that correct?
That is correct.
Is that correct, sir?
It is right.
You know,
So-
the weird, let me see if this happened to me over here, audience. Okay, it's not bad. When I set it up sometimes to go live, it puts me like only to me.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's done that a few times.
Well, and we're playing around for the first time too, because I've got it on Instagram on mine. So I took it off of Facebook since we can only have 8. And I'm curious to see how this will turn out on Instagram today too.
Well, we're both on there.
No, yeah, I see it. I'm looking over.
See, we're both on there.
Omnipresence.
That's right. Always live, everywhere.
That's
well, you
right.
know, a lot of people make comments about how you got to be everywhere, or people think you're everywhere.
Yep.
I can see that. But it's really about making sure that people know who you are, where you are. And really, the more I've seen this stuff is you really need to stop going. And this is what I'm saying, live to YouTube. Just take the live that you've done, cut it up and upload it, because there is no followings on the lives on YouTube. I know some people have a lot of following.
Right.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in general, for what I see, you'll get more if you just go live all the other channels.
Right.
Take that one, upload it as a video, because if you go live like I have done and not uploaded a separate video that says you've never uploaded a video in so many months.
Well, and that's just it. You have to be on the homepage of YouTube, or you have to have an alarm set that says, hey, when they go live, let me know. And so you're right. I never think, if I want to find somebody, what's going on at the present time, I think to go to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, versus YouTube is if I want to research or look up something.
Right. Because we have a new program. It's really a rehash of an old program that came out last year called Shared Appreciation for All, which we said it ended up being a shared appreciation for some, because there was only, at first they said there was only a few hundred, and now they're saying there was 2,000 something people they helped. I don't think so. There was only 300 million. There's no way it would help that many people.
Right.
But we have it coming back out, and I just heard that it came back out, and I typed it in. All of a sudden there's all these YouTubes of all these people who've put the YouTube out there. And what I'm getting at is that's so important versus kind of what I've been doing for the past year, just with the lives. Right. I was focused mainly on Facebook and LinkedIn, and I would go live on YouTube, but it really doesn't matter. You should just, like I said, cut these up and upload them to YouTube. You'll do much better.
Yeah. Well, there's people, I don't know, we need to have Ken Walls on one time. Ken has what's called the Grow Live Academy, and he grew his entire business based on going live every day on Facebook, and that's one of the things that he teaches in his courses. And there was another lady, she passed a few months ago, Jessie Lee. She was Boss Lee on Instagram. That's where everybody kind of knew her. She would get up, and she started 4 years ago going live every day. So she'd just get on, and now you'll see a lot more people doing it, like get ready with me in the morning. And she's literally putting on her makeup while she's just talking and looking at questions and answering people's content. And that's the thing, we're constantly fighting the scroll, and sometimes people want to see what's live, what's really going on, what's not manufactured, rehearsed, everything else. So there's pros and cons to all of it, but kind of like what we're going to talk about today is, when you're posting, are you posting as you, or are you posting about your company? So I know you like to talk about this because of the space you're in. You want to kick it off?
Yeah, because I've been fighting with advertising firms for years. I'm talking for the past 15, 20 years. They always want to focus on the company and nothing on the owner or you as an individual of that company. Who does it well is real estate agents, right? Because they work for a company, but it's really about promoting themselves, because if they promote the company, they get nothing from it.
Right.
And that's the difference. And I think that whole thing has moved over into the rest of the sales environment or other environment, where it's, even if you own the company, you should be promoting yourself and then the company. It's just like Elon does. He doesn't promote the company. He promotes himself, really. Yeah. He doesn't even promote. It's Elon.
It's Elon. Well, a lot of people think, oh, I've got to be to that stature in order for it to be effective. No, there's a guy I know named, he goes by on Instagram. He's Ty the car guy. And so obviously, what does he do? He sells cars. He posts pictures when he helps somebody get a new car. They're there. And when he changes dealerships, people will follow him dealership to dealership. Why? Because he's Ty the car guy. And, it's always easy. And I'll speak for myself. I was always so overwhelmed when I would see somebody like Bradley, with 1 million followers and things, and they're posting and thinking, oh, you can't do that. But if you look, associating you as the brand, as you mentioned, you can go and do anything. You can change professions, you can change careers, you can change within the same industry, you can go to a completely new industry. People are following you for you. And so that's what we all know what they say, you buy from people you know, like, and trust.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you build it over time, is give people a glimpse into your world. And we're all guilty of wanting to show the good things. But what I found is when you share the bad things, that's when people go, oh, they're a real person. You and I talked when I shared about what's happened in the year since I got fired. And, people go, oh my God, fired. Yeah, I got freaking canned. And when I shared that, more people reached out than when you share a win, because people want to know they're not alone.
I mean, because there's people tell us, share every win you've done, tell everybody everything you're doing. And a lot of times we're like, really? But you should share. But you're right, because I told people a long time ago, people really don't care about the company. They care about the individual who they're dealing with. And so that means when you leave one company to the next, or your company, you sell it and move on. So that was one of the issues that people don't understand. If you're promoting your company and you own that company, when you sell that off, who are you?
Right. That's exactly it. And now there can be a downside to it, is if your company is only named after you, then you run into the Zig Ziglar issue or the Tony Robbins issue. So you can still have your company. It can be a completely separate name, but you should be, when they quote unquote say the face of the company, it is that. That's what personal branding is really all about. I think I mentioned on the last time before we had the Joker on, there's a book I'm reading right now called Book Yourself Solid. And a lot of that
I actually got that book, by the way.
Oh, did you? Good. Yeah, I'm 170 pages in. Really solid, good book. No pun intended.
I'm like no pages in. It's still sitting there next to my chair to read.
It's really good because it has information and exercises every few pages, instead of, here's my theory, I'm just really successful, and maybe if you buy my $10,000 course, then I'll teach you. No, it's got exercises every few pages to help you refine your message, find your ideal client. We had Rhonda on here. She read the book. She's a chiropractor, and there's plenty of chiropractors around her. How did she learn to stand out? Who's her ideal client? She creates the events for people to come to. It's a very much a book that when you buy it, you can really succeed off just following what's in there. And if you want to take another step and go to the mastermind level or something else, it can just take you a little bit further faster, but it's a good book on its own.
No, I totally agree. I heard noise, so I was trying to get rid of it.
I got you. Luckily, we couldn't hear it on our end.
That's all that matters.
Exactly. I'm still so bad. I still have my Yeti here. I've got the other one. I keep meaning to put it up. And
what are you doing? Too busy out
drinking? No, procrastinating.
Because it takes like a couple of minutes to do it.
No. Yeah. I know. I should just put down the book for 5 minutes and set it up and be ready.
Maybe that would be smarter. Focus on work versus focus on pleasure.
I promise by the time we do the Thursday Joker session, I will have the new microphone in place. It may not be working, but I'll have it up.
If it's a USB connection, you'll be easy. It'll be easy. Yeah.
That's why I bought it. I just got to put up the arm and move it over here and figure out how I want it set up. So
set it up to where it's right in front of you. That's where you want to set it.
Right. But does it come in from the side? I can't do right from,
but down below. That's all. Yes. I can't put an arm on this desk. It's too antique-ish. No, not wobbly. So I had my huge desk at my old studio, which is now out on the patio because it's gonna be a patio table because I don't need it anymore. But it was like this thick. I mean, it was it's that edge, so I had to get clamps for that size. So I have all different size clamps. It's just the way this table's made. I don't want to mount it there.
Yeah. It's well, when you adjust it, it's always weird. Like I got rid of my 2 monitors and I went to one large monitor. And there's things I get used to doing from the old mind. I'm like, crap. And now everything's over here versus having a menu here, menu there. It's just changes to get used to. Yeah. Worst things in life.
So we're talking about how to focus on yourself, build
Yes.
your own brand. We talked about everybody's the key word out there these days, brand. It's always been. It's just people are focusing on it more. Saying the word is what I'm saying.
Yes. This for a lot of people who don't know, I'm an introvert by nature. I love to be around people, but I'm still an introvert. And I did everything wrong because I did it all as subtle skills first. And that's where my largest following is. But the best thing that happened to me was when you could get your blue check mark, you have to put your real name. And that actually helped me because it wasn't just nebulous subtle skills. Who is that? But because it's Brian Galke and it shows up as subtle skills, that actually helped me quite a bit. Because if you look, I have 24,000 on Instagram and I have like 4,000 on Facebook,
right?
As far as me. So, and maybe 2,000 or 3,000 on Instagram is Brian Galke. But by combining the two, it created that personal brand that helped my professional brand at the same time. But I did it before because I was worried about being judged and who's going to say something. They're going to say it anyway. Go do what you love. Now, that took me the longest time to learn. Go do what you love. People are going to talk shit. Some people are going to be supportive. Some people not so much, but just put it out there. And that's why when you build your personal brand, it can go with you for life.
Right. So, but I love haters.
Yeah.
Well, they make your video go viral.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I love haters. More haters, the better. Yeah.
I used to look away or I'd focus on it. And once I learned to just go, let's just start chatting with them. Yeah. What happens? They want to keep going.
Yeah.
And it helps you refine your message. It helps you with like thinking. And I don't want to say critical thinking because somebody will think that's a political thing. No, it makes you start thinking about things differently. How do I explain it in a different way? How do I help correct someone? How do I tell someone politely what they can go do to themselves?
you just say, oh, you were a bottle fed baby. I'm sorry.
There you go. So
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with bottle fed, but it's just, it's
I know. I like the slams that make people think and they go back and go, like, what do they mean?
Right. But I've run into that so many times in my life. Like, there a long time ago when I was first here in that where I live, I was going in a restaurant. I was coming out and I just let the door close and the guy goes, well, thanks for holding the door. I said, well, I didn't know you had excuse my language, a pussy. And he's like, oh, you're bald or whatever. I'm like, ooh, did you have to think really hard on that? And so I'm one of those guys that quick-witted that can say stuff that will really irritate people really easily if I wanted to.
It's good to have skills. It's good to have goals and skills in life.
Well, it's not like I try to. It's just like, come on, you're on that side. I'll hold it for a lady. I'll hold it for if you're going out. I'm not gonna, and it's like I hate the people when you open the door and they cut right in front of you. It's like go get your own door. Yeah. Anyway,
my whole thing, I'll hold the door. Raised in Texas, we hold the door for everyone, but thank you would be nice every once in a while. So it's kind of like you want to hold the door, and if they don't say thank you, you want to trip them at the same time.
You're welcome. That's what I do. You're welcome.
Right.
And what I run into is before I open it for a lady, I go, is it okay if I open this for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine in some places you have to do that. And that's the funny thing. I've only had one time where somebody said, I can get it myself. I'm like, and I literally said, I'm from Texas. We hold the door for everyone. It wasn't because you're a woman. And that's where some people are now is you can't even do common courtesy things without somebody thinking that there's an agenda for it. And it's like, no, it's just be nice, be a good human. That's what I was raised with. So
were you?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah. So back to the branding and the authority. One of the things I learned from the event I went to in Florida was don't make it all. They had the 80-20 rule. 80% of it can be about your business, but you need to share 20% of other things you like to do. So, we all have a mutual friend who loves old fashions. So that's part of his
brand. That's not all you guys do. It doesn't matter who it is. You got a little comment for what we were saying.
There you go. And gratitude produces pride. Exactly. Right. That's, it's one of the things of when you're out there, share a little bit of who you are because people are curious. One of the things that's strange is we put people on pedestals that we see in public versus how they are in private.
Right.
The amount of people who will answer their own DMs on Instagram that have huge followers is astounding. And that's because we all like human connection.
Well,
And
most of them will do it. Most of them will. They're the
absolutely.
ones reacting, and they say, "I will." It might take me a little while, but I'll get
Yes,
back to you. Yeah.
exactly. Now, it's a little more when somebody sees the, oh, what's it called? You get the automated message back. And I know a lot more people are just starting to use AI. You can tell who's got it, and it feels kind of inauthentic. So you're like, okay. But that person may reach out later. So there was a person I reached out to who has a pretty big following. And I said, hey, happy birthday. And I got the automated message. I thought, oh, that's it. Then she came back and said, hey, thank you. It's really nice meeting you at X. So while I was initially turned off by the automated message, the personalized message that came back was really kind of nice.
Yeah.
So
well, you understand they're using like high level, and they're using the bot. And the problem is you got to train it. It takes a while, because that's the same thing with me. Somebody reached out through Enter Edison to be on the podcast, and then it was the bot started talking to them, and then it was like, stop. It's like, that's what they did. And it's like, okay, we're training it. Yes. So some it doesn't work, but for what it's there for is the people we don't know who contact us through social media. It will engage with them. Like when I miss a phone call on my Go High Low phone, it's like, hey, this is Ed Parcaut's team. We missed your call. Is there anything we need to help you with right now? Until Ed gets back to you, and it's a good contact. But if I didn't have that, it would be crickets, and they wouldn't know anything about it. But that sometimes is a problem for people who I normally talk to.
Yes. But you don't, again, it's about reaching out to other people. Somebody asked on a text message, not on here, but what are some of the ways that you build your authority? You and I have talked about this, but for anybody who doesn't know, if you have recordings of your talks or anything like that, Opus Clips is amazing to use because it helps generate your captions. I still use CapCut to create my videos. So like I'll go in and add photos and things through there, but putting yourself out there and letting people, I was just on a call right before this where they said you used to hear the, 7 touches is what it was. Somebody said that was back from the billboard days. And now it's actually hundreds of touches is what a lot of people will wait before they'll purchase anything. Why? Because they're constantly scrolling. They may stop for a second, but it takes a hell of a lot more now than it used to before somebody feels comfortable with you.
Yeah, actually, back in the 90s, it was only 3. They'd start with it when they saw you in 3 places. Then they were like, I know that person. I think it's a lot more now, or it could be a lot less depending on where you are in social media, so who you are. Yeah. A lot of people think they know you when they don't know you. Right.
And it used to be, you go back, obviously the first one, AOL, right? You had chat rooms and stuff, but there wasn't really personal branding. Then, of course, we had MySpace. That's the first, hey, I can customize this, and it'll play a song, and it was horrible. Then Facebook, then Instagram. But that's when Instagram was nothing but pictures, And then, of course, Instagram started competing with different platforms before they got bought by Facebook. Meta. But it's funny because you keep up with it now. Like every day that I post something, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, then YouTube. And, there's people who do that 3 times a day to those platforms. Some people do Etsy. And then there was another one somebody was talking about. Pinterest. There you go. And that I never think to go to either of those two because I picture that somebody wanted to, figure out how to model their house or make Christmas gifts. But it's not. It's so much more than that.
Yeah. Well, here's what I'm saying. Figure a couple that you want to be on and do the multiple postings on those and just go that way. I mean, not everybody wants, some people are good on, I'm on LinkedIn, right? That's all business. That's how I look at it as business and how I do differently there. But really, you should do the same there as everywhere else. But you need to do what you can and then slowly get there. Now, you had sent me something that was supposedly unlimited video, and then I had a conversation with them. And I told them everything I was doing. They said, okay, we'll put a package together. Well, they did 2 packages. Then I'm like, then it's not really unlimited video now, is it?
Right. Yeah. Would you like the crappy service or the good service?
No, I'm just saying it's like, okay, don't broadcast something as unlimited video editing when you limit what you can do. That's not unlimited.
Yeah, that's true. So authenticity in your message, that's a big one.
I hate that word.
I know,
The
but
truth. Don't lie.
this
Tell the
year,
truth. Don't skew the truth a little bit to make it sound better. Just tell what you can do. Don't call it something that it's not.
yeah. I don't know what's going on. I just see the peripheral parts of it. But in the speaker world right now, there's a lot of people throwing hate at each other,
Oh,
saying,
really?
"Oh, these people are full of crap. This person's full of crap. Wait, 2024 is the year all these fake influencers are going to go down." So I don't know what information people have, but there's a lot of people who are saying that the people that what they're saying they have achieved and have on social media and on stage is a house of cards, and they think a lot of people are going to go down this year.
There's
So,
a lot of haters out there.
yeah.
And that could just be put out there to get more people looking at the different speakers. Come on.
Oh yeah,
How did Tucker Max sell his books?
yeah.
I mean,
That is, oh man, have you listened
oh,
to
let's
that?
not go there.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask if you listened to the Audible on it.
Yeah, well, I listened to it a long time ago. Yeah.
Okay, I just got introduced to it, and man, it makes you realize we all hear media manipulation, but when you hear specifically how it's done, tactics behind it, it's insane, absolutely insane. Because just high level, there's such a rush right now. It's not the days of newspapers where you got a story, you researched it because you didn't print till 6 a.m. Now people want to be the first to have and deliver the news, and so they'll jump on stuff they haven't really researched to find out is it true or not.
They don't have to anymore. There was
Exactly.
there was a lawsuit, and the judge said no, they're fine. They didn't have to do that. And ever since then, they can run anything they want, and it doesn't have to be, because it used to be if you're going to be in print, you had to verify it this many times before you could do
Yes,
it, or if
this
you use
many
this.
sources.
It depends on how fast it had to get out there. That's how
Right.
much you had to put in it. But if it was in print, it had to be, very, very, and it's not that way anymore because of that lawsuit that happened in the 2000 that just said no, they can, because it had to do with Fox News and a bunch of other online companies.
Right. So
And yeah,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was going to say, so you just remember that, because that's why headlines go blah, 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 blah. And then in the article, it says, if this potentially could happen on a third Tuesday in a month that has the moon like this is what we're thinking could potentially happen.
We definitely live in the day and age of clickbait. And, how do you get farther? The book is Trust Me, I'm Lying by, Trust Me, I'm Lying by
I like the show
Ryan
better.
Holiday. What's that?
I like the show better.
Yeah. So it would just listen to it. It's eye-opening to say the least.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, again, what we just showed when we were talking. The reason my video went viral was because of the haters, right? The people are saying I didn't know what I was talking about, when in reality I did. And other people came and defended what I did, because they said I did the same thing. He is correct. You can do that. And then, then somebody took it and did one of those where they're next to me and I'm behind them. And then she went, I think we got 1 million, views off of it. And people are complaining that and she's like, what are you saying? Something on TikTok doesn't work everywhere in the country?
I know. That's why you have to test.
She was amazing. I mean, she was amazing. So, yeah.
It goes back to what you're saying. Find your audience. Different platforms speak to different people. When you and I first started talking about TikTok, at the time, people were just getting past, oh, well, we just do dancing videos, and it's all 13-year-olds, to Robbie, who we've had as a previous guest and joker, Robbie Cornelius. One video he made $40,000 that year off a TikTok video that went viral. There's possibilities that are out there, and that's the eye-opening thing is being raised in the world I was raised in. It was go to school, get a job, work hard, get promoted, retire, die. And you were based on what company did you work for. So I remember getting out of college, somebody went to go work for McDonald's, and we made fun of them. Oh, they're going to go work for McDonald's, until they end up owning the franchise, that store. And then they surpassed us all with the amount of money they made. Right. But before, our only badge of honor was, did I get hired by a big name company, instead of, this is who I am as an individual, branding, personal branding. This is what I can do. And that's been the biggest change, at least for me, was instead of being told who I am and what I can do, being able to share that has brought more things into my life.
But you got to look at the difference. Today is totally different than it was 20 years ago, 10 years ago.
Oh,
We have
absolutely.
access to do stuff that we couldn't do before. If
Correct.
we wanted to share what we were doing, we sent a newsletter or something, and not everybody did that. Or you had to call them up and say, oh, by the way, or the most impressive thing you could have done has been on radio. That's why
Right.
radio was so prevalent, because of the fact that people could get on radio and tell their story, and 51 to 71,000 people would hear it. Where now you have social media, you can do the same thing.
Absolutely. Look at how it's changed the music industry. It used to be you had to make a demo, send it to a record label. Maybe they listened to it. You had to sign a contract. You can list the amount of people who've been discovered off of YouTube, that are now super famous. And that's what the sad part is. It's not done on purpose. But a lot of times the advice our parents are giving to their kids was for the parents' generational success, but it's not applicable to helping the kids.
But you also got to remember, for many, many years, nothing changed.
Right.
And that was, so it was fine, because nothing changed for 20, 30 years, because of how the whole world was. Now things change 6 months or 3
Yes.
months or 2 months. I mean, look at the stuff we have access to cut up our videos and do everything else now. We didn't have a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you'd had to hire a person to edit
We
your
still do.
videos, put captions, but you can do a lot more on your own now. But if you've got the money, it's that, what's my time worth, and is it my area of expertise? I'm going to use this as an example. So I leave in Friday to go to Door Con to speak. And one of the biggest names that's going to be there is Chris Voss. Now, everybody knows who Chris Voss is, one, because he wrote a book, right? And that's one of the things we talk about, is write a book to become an authority. But if we would have gone back 20 years ago, you would hire the FBI negotiator, and his name happened to be Chris, instead of, you say, I'm bringing Chris Voss. And that's the example of personal branding, is once you know who he is, you find out he was an FBI negotiator. But that used to be the tagline before. And if it was a business, is hire me because I'm an FBI negotiator, instead of now.
Was.
Yes, was. But now it's hire me because I'm Chris Voss. And that's the big change in what it used to be. Everything used to be title and business. Now it's person who's in this business.
And everything, and then you have all these people who see these influencers who, they've done something before they were influencers, but they've kids, everything. I'm just, okay, I don't need to go to college. I can start a channel. I can become an influencer. I can make billions of dollars. You can be like Logan Paul. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the not Kids in the Hall, South Park video about, they have their drink is called Cred.
No.
Yeah, I got cred, because they're all very vivid color, drink. So they're going they're play off of Logan Paul's drink, Prime, and how bad it is. And I mean, and there's other things in there, but it's just funny how now that's going to grow more because of it.
I saw a skit, a meme, that it was this girl brings her boyfriend home, and the boyfriend goes to the bathroom, and the parents go, we're really disappointed that you even brought this guy to the house. She's like, why? They go, we looked at his Instagram following. He's only got 3,000 followers. And did you see him at dinner? He just dove right in. He didn't even take a picture of his food before he ate it. What kind of savage are you bringing into our house? And it's funny, because that is now how some people view other people. Is, do they post? How many followers do they have? Now, what was interesting is the event I went to in Florida, Ryan Magin's event. It was, you can't necessarily look at followers, because now people will just like stuff, but they don't take that extra step to follow or subscribe. So it's more about how many views are you getting. It's what the platforms are paying more attention to than who are you actively following.
No, totally. They don't care. I mean, TikTok doesn't care about your followers.
Right.
YouTube's at the point now it doesn't care, especially with shorts.
Right.
The algorithms about what's the engagement, how long are people watching, those kind of things. Why else are the people putting in B-roll in their videos? Just to keep the people's eyes on the video.
Yes. And that's, taking YouTube is a great example. I remember that when I first got started, my ultimate goal was 1,000 followers, because that's when it opened up the floodgates for, you can now do all these things on YouTube. Now I'm close. I'm at like 840 something or 870. But that's now just a small metric because all they care about now is hours watched.
Mhm.
Time consumed is more important than number of
And
followers.
actually, in how long they watched your video.
Yes, exactly.
90% or greater, or are they dropping off at 50%, whatever it is. And you
Yep.
need to figure that out. So if you have one that's dropping off, take it down, put B-roll in it, and put it back up.
Right. And that's one
Figure
of the
out
things.
where that drop off is, because that's what all those other guys do.
Oh, that Ryan had talked openly at his event about how sometimes they'd post the same video 3 different times, but they'd change the hook and that was it. Or they change the hashtags. So you do have to constantly play with it while it's out there.
Because a lot of us are like, why am I posting the same thing again? Everybody's going to see it and say, I'm just posting the same stuff again and again and again. Well, it's like what they tell you to do, like the one I went viral on. They would tell me, take it down, put some B-roll into it, and repost it.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those that I almost want to go like this. Here's what I learned. Most people recycle their stuff. So it's no different than everybody's been to a comedy show. The comedian didn't make that up on the fly. Now, if you're going to improv, they do. But most of the comedians that you pay to see, they practice that same act over and over and over again. You and I have been enough events. We could quote some of the speakers' presentations because it's the same speech. It's just for a new audience.
Right.
So don't be afraid to put the same thing out there because somebody may have scrolled past it the first time, but then they catch it the second, the third, the fourth time. Now, the difference is they're going to bust you on YouTube. If you put the same thing on YouTube 3 different times, they're going to recognize it's the same video 3 different times. But the other platforms repost stuff. There's entire software packages that are just about reposting content to recycle it because not everybody has time to make content on a regular basis.
Right. And, our big thing is putting our testimonials out, and I do it on Tuesday. You only need 52 of them.
Yeah.
You can set them all up to be there the same one over and over again each week, the same week, and have it already posted for you. Yes, you can add new ones in, but you don't have to. People aren't going to remember because it's first name, last initial. It's not like, they know who it is.
Right.
So, and it's funny because a lot of people are like, or you only need 52 quotes if you like doing quotes. You only need, you just need one, because you're only doing this and that, and then all the other stuff. So, yeah.
Well, because you and I both know, Steve, the quote that always stuck with me is, the get going, then get good.
Yeah.
Because he does that quite a bit. And I don't know if it's his, but that's where I first heard it. But that's true. You have to, I was talking to somebody about this past weekend. The scariest thing is to look into that camera for the first time and record a video. And we all suck when we get started. We suck now at times.
We still
You're definitely going to suck when you get started. But then you just learn to say things better. You learn to craft things better. Your presentation gets better. It's like any skill in life. The more reps you put in, the better you get.
I want to go back to what you said about liking stuff and worrying about subscribers and all that stuff. Because you got to remember, people do exactly what we do. How many videos do you look at that you actually like, even though you liked it, but you didn't like it?
Yes.
Right. Or you didn't love it, right? On Instagram, on different places. So that's why it looks at what is the engagement by people who are looking at it, but not necessarily touched it also.
Right. Yeah. Did they stop the scroll? Yeah. Right. That's a big one.
And that's important, but you got to remember, it doesn't matter. So you can't look at someone's video and go, oh, they fucking suck. They didn't get anything. You don't know what that is on the other side of that engagement.
Not only that, here's the crazy part. Because I used to judge things based on those metrics.
I didn't get a judgmental person.
I know. You get the endorphins when a video hits, and then one only gets a couple views or a couple hundred views. And you're like, oh man. But when you meet people in real life, they're like, hey, I love watching your stuff. So that's who you need to make videos for, is who are you trying to help? Picture that one person that's never going to like, never going to subscribe, but it makes an impact. That's who your avatars need to be. Is, you can name them Susie Smith, the seamstress, or whatever it is that you want to make up. But you'd be surprised how many people are sitting in the back, taking it in, and it's making a difference. But you don't know it just because you're not getting the affirmation back. Doesn't mean that you should stop. Right. Keep putting content out.
Yeah, I've been on radio since 2018, and I'm like, nobody, and I get constantly people, oh yeah, I listen to you all the time. The worst thing is though, when someone comes up and goes, "Oh yeah, I bought a house last year and I listen to your show all the time."
Yeah.
What about it?
So
No, because it's all about education, not about, necessarily getting every deal. And I tell people, I don't want all the deals. I just want yours.
Yeah. So, but I don't want to give away too much more. We're going to have our Joker on Thursday, who's going to share.
I miss Joker.
I miss Joker again. 2 ladies in a row, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it'll be 3 in a row, right?
What? I don't know.
Yeah, because we had Rhonda, and then we had Karen, and now we'll have the new one.
Who's Gabby?
My cousin. I mean, sorry, my sister-in-law.
Everybody's cousin in Texas.
That's right. Yeah, my sister-in-law.
Everybody's a cousin.
That's right. But our guest on Thursday, the Joker, who's going to bring a special skill or talent, is extremely successul in the industry. We met her at a different event last September. Oh, yes, movie star in a Hallmark movie.
But we won't tell who she is.
No, we won't talk about it. No, it's just somebody that when you find out the companies and the brands she's worked with and what she helps them with, basically, it's a lot of what we talked about today. Is it's not just the name of the company, who's going to be the face of that company, and we're used to it. There's always been a who's on the About Us website, but when you go, like, here's the difference. If I want to look up a company, I go and I do look up their website, and then I may go to the About Us. But when I find a person I like, then I go find out where do they work, and then I learn to like the company. But I'm still only going to like the company's website, but I'm going to follow the person.
Right. Or you're not even going to like the website. You're just going to follow the person.
Exactly.
Because that's
so. All right. I got to get running.
All right. Take us out.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us today on ACES 53. The best way to support it is go and subscribe. Like us here. We're playing with Instagram. So if you joined us today, thank you. This is the first Instagram live that we've done using StreamYard here in the platform. We're here on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays, it's usually just the 2 of us, like the grumpy old men from the Muppets. And then on Thursdays, we try and bring in a guest speaker to teach us something different about the industry, something we call the Joker, a special skill or talent that they have that they're going to share with you guys. So thank you for joining us today. Ed, thank you for being here.
Thank you for doing everything.
All right. Everybody have a great day.